It was about 7:30, okay, and I was feeling totally normal. Took my medications, went to my church life group. I was feeling good. I was feeling fine. And then all of a sudden, around like 9:30, I was just experiencing nausea. And so I'm like, okay, like I'm just gonna take my nausea medicine, whatever. I was also experiencing some bone pain and stuff like that. That's my normal symptoms. So I was like, all right, whatever. Um, anyways, about 10 p.m., things started going downhill fast. And I don't know what happened. There was like 30 minutes in there where I disoriented completely. I don't know if I passed out. I don't know if I blacked out. I really don't know what happened. I was home alone. I was in bed and I suddenly just like at 10:30 or so came back to consciousness and was like, "Oh my gosh." My heart was beating so fast. I was having a hard time breathing. I was going into like anxiety. I felt like the entire room was spinning out of control. Like imagine if you drank a lot of alcohol and you were just like, you know, really going through a hard time. That is how it felt. That is how it felt, except I didn't drink any alcohol. Yeah. And I was so fatigued. I could hardly make my way over to the bathroom. I could hardly talk. I could hardly speak. Again, very disoriented. Very, very disoriented, and it was pretty scary. So, anyways, I call up my friend and it's like 11:15, almost 11:30 by that time. I call her. I'm like, "Hey, I don't know what is going on. Like, um please pick me up and take me to the ER." And she's like, "Oh, like okay, yeah." So she comes up. Um Shout out to Catherine for picking me up because holy cow. Um and She picks me up, takes me to the ER, and I like walk in. They instantly put me like in a wheelchair because like when they asked me like, "Hey, like what's up? Why are you here?" type thing as I go check in, I was so disoriented that like I could not answer their questions. And it was scary. And I'm like, what is happening? You know? So I check in, I tell them what's going on, and they're like, okay, we're really understaffed. We'll put you as a priority, but we are very understaffed right now. It's going to be a long wait. And I'm like, okay. When they said long wait, it was a very, very long wait. All right. I am in the ER. By that time, in the ER waiting room. By that time, my friend's sitting with me, and I'm like in the little wheelchair thing, whatever. And I'm like, I just need a bed. I just need somewhere to lay on. Like I was feeling so incredibly sick. And so my friend, she found finally like these like three chairs that didn't have any like armrest to like lay down. And I was like, thank God. So she laid me down. She put me like a blanket on. We got little hospital blankets that they had for us so that I could have that as like a pillow and for a blanket. And I laid there and it was brutal. Like I was feeling so terrible. I would lay down because I was so incredibly tired and fatigued and weak, but then it would make me more nauseous and I would get up and I'm like, oh, like I ended up throwing up a couple times in the waiting room and then every 30 minutes I was like running to the restroom cuz I don't know what was going on, but my body was just like saying no. Like whatever was happening with all of these medications, probably like I've been on cancer medications for like a year now, and I think that my body is basically just like tapping out at that moment. Maybe I don't know what it was, but anyways, so I'm in the waiting room after like 3 hours. We're like, hey, I'm not feeling any better. Like I'm feeling so sick. Um, like what how much longer is it gonna be? They're like, okay, well, we'll let you know. At this rate, I start having other weird things happening with my body. Like my stomach is cramping, like I said before. I'm getting pains in my right rib cage. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting all of these other symptoms too. And we tell her, and she's like, okay, I'll move you up in the priority. We have some beds opening up, yada yada yada. And I'm like, okay, 4 hours goes by. And I'm like sitting there, laying there. And at this rate, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I am like, I just don't know. Like, I do not know if I can just sit here any longer. Like, if I'm going to be miserable, I'm just going to go home. Like, if I'm going to be miserable, I would rather be miserable like in my bed. And I just start thinking about, I'm like, what are they going to do? What are they actually going to do? Hook me up to some IVs and then just wait till my doctor comes and says what to do. It's almost the morning time by the time I get admitted, by the time they take the blood work, by the time all of that happens. It's going to be like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. My doctor, they're just going to end up having to like wait for her and see what she says anyway. So I just said, you know what, at that rate, like, I'm not dying. I knew that I wasn't dying. After 4 hours in the waiting room, I think you kind of realize, like, okay, I'm not dying. So I made the decision to go home and just go to bed and sleep. And I was still miserable, but I slept and then I woke up. And a couple hours later, I emailed my doctor. I'm like, this is what's going on. I went to the ER. I was waiting like 4 to 5 hours, never got seen, but I'm still not feeling well. Like, what is going on with my body? And you know, she basically said that we're going to change my hormone therapy to a different medication. I was on, you know, um, letrozole first, and then now we're going to change to anastrozole. There we go. I always forget the name, anastrozole. So we're going to change that. But before we do that, we're going to have a week off of no medication. We're just going to flush your body out, like no hormone therapy, no targeted therapy. Like, we're going to flush your system. And then after a week, we'll start everything back up. So right now, obviously, I have a little bit more energy because I'm not on the medication. So I'm taking today, of course, to like film and stuff. But it was a rough ER visit. Like, I get it that like we're all like, low staffed and everything, but let me tell you, waiting 4 to 5 hours in the ER waiting room to never get seen was definitely not fun. But look at me, I am alive and I'm okay. So I guess it all works out. I guess it's all okay now, but yeah, I'm a little nervous having a week off of like no medications, but I guess I just have to trust the process. So, if you have any ER waiting room experiences to share, I guess misery is company sometimes, right? Let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear them. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Bye, guys.